Hey there, hope everybody's doing well. This is Faith James, your CEO and Chief Brand Strategist at the Personal Branding Consultancy. Thank you for joining me today. If you are so inclined, just go ahead and say hey, let me know where you're joining from. Today we're going to be talking about the workplace. So as you guys know, most of the times I talk about things related to entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, business owners. Today we're actually going to be talking about building a professional brand reputation within your workplace. And so this is because branding is, I've done this before where you talk about branding matters. It doesn't matter if you're the CEO of you or you are an employee of a corporation. You still have to build a brand. You still have your brand. You must curate that brand. So how do you build a professional brand within your workplace organization? So let's even first think about, why would you even want to focus on your professional brand within the organization? Because, most people think when they work for a company that all they should be focusing on is that company and nothing else. But nothing could be further from the truth. You want to always be thinking about your role within that organization and how you can be in support of that vision, be in support of the mission, while at the same time ensuring that your personal and professional brand really stands out. So let's just jump into it. The first thing you want to do, if you don't own your first name, last name.com. So for me, my name is Faith James. I own faithjames.com. Do you own your first name, last name? Or in some instances, I have a client and so there's another, I think, a singer with her name. So you would do your first name, middle initial.com. Any variation of your name is good. You could do first name, completely spell out the middle name, your last name.com. So number one is you've got to own your name. So I'm just going to put this in the chat. So number one, own your name domain. And so why do I say that? Because what I want you to do, so again, remember now we're talking to individuals who work for a corporation. So you may or may not actually have your own sort of side hustle, and shout out to you if you do, because I'm a big, proponent on that. I'm going to be doing some work in the next few months as soon as I get through this Branding Over Brunch event in helping people build that side hustle to ultimately serve as a platform into becoming the full CEO of you, because that's what I did. And so I know a lot of people are desirous of that, so we're going to be doing some training on that into the end of the year, getting ready for New Year. But let's get back. Your name domain. Why do you want to do that? Because no matter where you go, there you are. Right? No matter where you go, there you are. You work for company A, you're still you. You move to company B, you're still you. So just imagine if you have built a relationship with a director of HR, or you've built a relationship with a headhunter, otherwise known as a professional recruiter. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to want to get your resume. In most cases, I always say to my clients, get a bio. It's much more sort of professional and kind of puts you in the light of somebody who is, either in management or leading up to that position. A resume just isn't cutting it anymore these days. So you want to have a bio that really tells your story. And one of the things we do, we love doing it with our clients, is creating their branded bios. So the first thing is you want to have your name domain.com, because let's say you met with recruiter A and recruiter A put you in touch with this company and you went through the interview process and you got hired. Fast forward 2-3 years from now, and you've now done some other things, you've made a shift, but the information you gave to the recruiter, right, is now just a static piece of paper. It's once it's printed, it's old. Whereas if you have your bio, you have your credentials, you have your skills, you have all of the things, you have your work product in terms of whether you've written an article, whether you've been published in 2 or 3 different magazines, that's where you're going to house all of the wonderful, brilliant things that are you on your name domain. So if you send that to a headhunter, recruiter, and they have that, you could easily just say, remember now, 2, 3, 4 years later, you've been doing something different, but you've kept that site, that landing page updated. They still have the most current information about you because all they need to do is go log into www.yourfirstnamelastname.com. So you could easily say, hey, Tim, just want to let you know I'm back on the market. I've been doing some really interesting things, traveling across Europe, but I'm back now looking for my next big move. You can just go to my website and see all of the details, and it'll provide you with all the updates of things that I've been doing. How pro and how slick and just how ahead of the pack do you seem when you can say that and be that and do that, as opposed to, oh, now let me go update my resume, and oh, let me send that to you or email or fax it to you. Where you can just say, go to my website, firstnamelastname.com, firstnamemiddlename.com. You're already positioning yourself as a player, somebody who's here, who's playing to win. Do you guys get that? Do you see that? Already ahead of the pack just by that one pro move. So that's number one. Go get your name domain. You can get them anywhere, GoDaddy, domain.com, register.com. It doesn't matter where you get it from. You get that. There are plenty and plenty and plenty of places that you can go. And if you need some free resources, I can help you with that, where you can create a landing page that's literally just serves as a one-page landing page about you. You keep that updated. It's always refreshed, the latest and greatest. You get featured on the cover of your neighborhood magazine. You update that on your section that says, press publicity. So you just keep updating it. And everybody who's got your link, no matter if it's 2, 3 years later, they're going to have the most updated information about you. That's what you want to do. And so for the recruiting, for the headhunters, for the director of, companies, let's just say you had an interview with, a company that you were really, really aspiring to work for, but they ended up hiring somebody else. You could easily do a follow-up, check in, 6 months later, a year later with that director of HR, and just, hi, just following up, seeing how things, want to let you know what I've been up to. Here's my link. Looking forward to connecting, hoping our paths cross soon, in the future. You just given that company owner or leader, whomever it was, an opportunity to just see, hey, this person's really moving and grooving and doing all sorts of good stuff. It's not this laborious process of, oh, let me send you over a resume. It's alive, it's breathing, it's branded. That's why when we talk about bios, we don't just do the traditional, she does this, she's a people person, and then she lives with her cats and dogs. It's a dynamic, fully storytelling document that sets forth your experiences, the things that are credible about you, your accomplishments, in a really amazing storytelling way that helps you to stand out. So just by making that one pro move, getting your firstnamelastname.com, putting all of your credentials on a one-page landing page, and sending that out to people that you've met, people that you have had interviews with, that's going to do a wonderful thing. Now, also even thinking about when you get hired at a particular company and you're on a special project with somebody who is in a different department and they're not familiar with you, you can easily just send to that person, just as, sort of like a pre-read before we get together. I wanted you to get a sense of, who I am and what I've been doing and what some of my interests are. So here's, the link to my professional bio, my professional brand, and you can take a look at that. So you can use that, right? You can use that to send internally to individuals within the corporation as a way of saying, I'd like to introduce myself, but they may be super busy. You can't get on their calendar for months and months and months. You can easily just send that and say, as and when you have some time, I'd like to introduce myself, virtually, and looking forward to seeing you at the next company retreat, whatever it might be. It's just a pro way for you to get people on the same page of what it is that you do and how you do it. Number 2, okay, let me cross it off. That was number 1. You want to develop a CEO mindset. So let me put that in. Number 2, develop a CEO mindset. What do I mean by that? So you're an employee of this corporation, this organization. I want you to still think like you're the CEO, act like you're the CEO of the company, move like you're the CEO of the company. More importantly, behave from a mindset standpoint that if this were your company, would you care what was happening in Department B? Would you care what was happening in Department C? If you saw somebody who was in Department E and they were sort of struggling, they were looking for some assistance with maybe a better way to increase their productivity or optimize something, would you care? Would you give them any insight, any tips, anything? Yes, you would, because you're the CEO running the show. So I want you to develop a CEO mindset. You could be in the accounting department of the company. And let's say you work for an advertising agency, right? You have nothing to do with the traffic department. You have nothing to do with the creative department at all. But as a CEO with a CEO mindset, you would take an interest in what's going on in the company and seeing where you might be able to lend your skill set, your services in ways that doesn't become interruptive, right? So I'm not saying go barge into a creative director's office and say, I've got a great idea for a new spot. Like, that's not going to work. But if you were to take an interest in the annual report that the company publishes at the end of the year, if you were to go through the website and see when they're posting jobs that are available, that you look to see, you know, what positions are open, and saying to the director of HR, hey, I just saw this, I have a really good friend who is in copywriting that I think might be a good fit. Can I give them your information, or where do I have them, you know, send their information in? Act like everything matters to you, because when you're the CEO, it does. And that's what's going to give you the opportunity to be noticed, because this is what leaders like. They like people who really come to the table with more than just this myopic view of this is the only thing I care about, you know, the tip of my nose, and everything else be damned. No, I'm part of team. I want to listen in. Where can I be supportive without being, you know, intrusive? Where can I be helpful without being sort of badgering? This is what you will do to get ahead in your company. You have a CEO mindset that says, if it's your problem, it's my problem. How can I help? You're not in the production department, but production needs help. You know, they're cranking out, you know, 24 hours. There's this big, huge pitch that needs to go down, and you have some free time. Did you go offer to say, let me go run to Mr. Chung and get, you know, takeout? What does everybody want? I can pitch in and help with that. Please understand, and let me tell you that that will serve you so well. So well. When I was in my career in advertising, my very first job was at Ogilvy and Mather. Just shout out to all of the Ogilvy people, you know, some of whom become really, really close friends, and just those lifelong people that I love. And my first account was IBM. And I mean, I did everything. I mean, just all the amazing, brilliant work that happened there. But my position at the time when I started, I was an account, like a junior account executive. I don't even know what the heck an account executive was or what it did. I just knew that this was the area I wanted to be in, and I was just like, I'm doing whatever. I remember literally, shout out to Claire Dietz, if she's even like listening to this, maybe in the replay, was my account supervisor at the time, and I was in this big, huge, massive war room at Ogilvy, New York. And I mean, when I tell you, just all kinds of things up on the wall, strategy, pitch deck, all this kind of stuff. And she was saying, like, okay, we need these spots created, and was like very short order. They're going to be running in these different regions. And she said, you know, they're going to be running in EMEA. True story. I wrote on my paper AMIA. I had no clue what an EMEA was until I got schooled and realized it was Europe, Middle East, and Africa. But this was just how hungry. I mean, I was just busy taking notes, writing, learning, absorbing, not saying, well, I don't, just yes and yes and yes. I always tell people I love to hang with yes and people. I don't do yes but people, right? So in that moment, even though I didn't know what in the world she was talking about, I wrote down AMIA. I'm like, you know what? We're going to figure out what this EMEA thing is that Claire's talking about. In the meantime, we're going to get these CV production things done. So that with that attitude that I approached my career at Ogilvy on the IBM account, it was just like whatever needed to get done. Shout out to Wendy North. I remember love Wendy to pieces. We had this big, massive production that we had to do for an IBM pitch to Lou Gersman, who was the CEO and chairman of the board at the time. And we literally did a 24-hour run at the agency. What I mean, like I slept on the conference floor. Yep, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. That's what we did. And Wendy was there, just making sure, everything got done right, and we got what we needed. But just such a trooper to everybody who was on that team. I mean, she just amazing. So that was the attitude. I'm just telling you all this so you can get a sense. And remember now, I am working for Ogilvy and Mather. I'm not the CEO of me at that time. So I am like, whatever, whenever, however, what do you need me to do? My motto at the time was throw me in front of the oncoming bus, because I was just so hungry and so ready and so grateful that I landed at this amazing, amazing place on this most amazing experience, this experience called, you're working on the IBM account. So my energy was whatever, it's going to get done. And I remember once I was walking with a group of individuals to a meeting. Shelley Lazarus, who was the CEO and chairman of Ogilvy at the time, said, I forget who she was talking to. She might've been speaking to Robert Schwartz, I'm not sure, but she said, the thing I love about Faith is that you can ask her to move a building from 45th Street to 49th Street and somehow she just gets it done. What? Yes. Yes, and yes, and yes. Shelley Lazarus said that about me. And so it wasn't like we were besties. I've never been to Shelley Lazarus' house. It's not like I was friends with her, but just the way I approached my work with that CEO mindset, like even though, nevertheless, this is what I tell you, I attract and I only work with even though, nevertheless people. Oh, you need to have the confirmation blue of the Wall Street Journal ad that needs to be done and in the paper by Monday, and it's Saturday afternoon. Yep, go to the client's house and wait while she's rollerblading with her friends. Get that confirmation blue sign, bring it back to the agency so we can send it to the journal. This was just a day in the walk in the park for me. But I'm telling you this because if you want to stand out within an organization, this is what you need to do. You really have to take everything in that it matters to me. You're not just there to cut a check and go. You're not going to build any professional brands that way. So you want to have that CEO mindset. And what is a CEO mindset? It looks like that. Be in, lean in, do all that you can with the best effort and energy and effort that you can. So what does that look like for you and your organization? It could start super simple. Like I said, just looking at, what are they looking for in terms of hiring? What are they putting out into their company newsletters? What are they looking for? Be in, participate. I always, tell people this. If you don't like where you're working, don't sit there and complain and nag everybody else. It is your opportunity to go someplace else. You have that right. But if you're going to be there and stay there, be there with the best that you can be, the best intention, the best energy, and develop that CEO mindset, and that will serve you far, far and wide. So that's number 2. And then number 3, which sort of dovetails nicely with this, is, come with the solutions, not the problems. So come with solutions, right? Don't rehash problems. If I can spell. So if you are known as the person, listen, I didn't say with the right solutions, you're just coming with some solutions. So a lot of times people don't do this because they think, well, my answer might not be right, or somebody might think what I'm suggesting is, it does not matter. Come with some solutions. Hey, I'm not sure if this is going to be correct. I don't know all the details. I don't know all of the other sort of key dependencies that might be happening, but here are a couple of things that I'm putting forth to solve this issue that I think might help, that I did at another company that seemed to work well. I'm submitting this for your review. If all they hear you talking about is, oh my gosh, the customer service line is always a 10-minute wait. People can't get through. They're going on the chat line and they're making all sorts of, rude comments, or they're going on our social media and complaining. We know what the problem is. What do you think the solution might be? Your solution might be, what? Why don't we open customer service for 12 hours? Instead of 6 hours? And why don't we have, 10 people dedicated for higher order challenges, and then just let the sort of, basic day-to-day customer service things get done by your mid-range team. So you have your highly skilled, really sort of professional people on those higher, that could be a solution. As opposed to say, oh my gosh, girl, again, did you see we got hung up on in customer service? There's like 20 more people complaining. That doesn't help anybody, and it doesn't help you, and it just makes you one of the masses. Everybody else is doing this, so there you go. But why not say, I took the time to just jot down on this piece of paper and submit it via email, copy whomever you need to copy, but just saying, hey, you know, it may not be the best, but I just thought I'd give it a go. Please believe me when I tell you that your name will be written in a special place among the leadership of that organization if you did something like that. Find one thing that you can solve, or at least posture a solution for, that has nothing to do with your department, but it's really in concert to the greater good for the organization. So let me know if you're joining us on replay. Go ahead and hit hashtag replay. Let me know you're here. Just let me know what any of these sort of resonated with you, which ones you think you're going to do. I mean, I think, listen, everybody needs to be saying, raising their hand, saying, I'm going to go get my name, first name, last name.com. It's your name. I don't care if you, listen, if you just park it and you did nothing with it, it doesn't matter. You need to own your name. Because you know what happened? True story. I had a client who, when we started working on building her brand, she had to go pay somebody to get her name because they had her name just parked, you know, offering it. I think it was maybe $300 or $400 she had to pay to get her name. They weren't using it. They just parked it. So, and there's nothing you can do about that because they're right. It's a public service. Go get your name domain. If you do nothing else, make sure you do that. And if you're watching the replay, and if you're doing this live with me, I want you to come back to this live and comment below, you know, hashtag got it or got my name, so I know that you've done it. But this is something that's super important. Everybody needs to have this. Every single person within the sound of my voice and like listening to this video needs to have that. So go ahead and get those things done. Come back and let me know what your experience is, what you're trying, just anything to just keep your brand in flow, keep your professional brand built to the point that when promotions start to be released, when special teams start to get organized, that your name is there that says, you know what, this person may not have the experience necessary for this thing, but I am 100% down with their attitude. We can teach them the technical nuances of what needs to get done, but you can't teach that stuff. So you need to start developing that right now. So hope this served you well. Be well, everyone, and I will see everybody soon. Take care. Bye.